Masculinity is killing men. Let's talk about it. Because the truth is, most men are dying. And I'm not talking about war, I'm not talking about from disease, but from the way that we were taught to be men. We're told to be hard, to be quiet, to be in control, to never cry, never ask for help. And I lived that way for a long time. Emotionless, overworked, and completely isolated. And I'll be honest, it nearly destroyed me. And the truth is, it's destroying millions of us right now. But it doesn't have to be this way. And let me show you why. You see, because the truth is, we've only been given half of the story when it comes to being a man. When it comes to understanding masculinity, as they call it. We've only been given half of the recipe. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to give you it, so just relax. It's coming. Let me cook. So as I said, we've been given half of the story when it comes to manhood. This is the egg of manhood. And we've been given access to only half of it. And in this half, we've got things like, I don't know why I did it that way. One sec, let me do it the other side. As you can tell, this is my first time working with this whiteboard. Literally got it a couple of days ago. So, let's start here. On the first slice of the pie, what are we given as men? What are we given? You might know the answer to this. Yep, you're right. If you said emotion less. As men, we are often told that we are to be emotionless, that we're not able to fully be men if we're not able to have complete control and mastery over our emotions. Interesting, right? What else are we given access to in this pie? Overworking. Now this is a very big one, but before I go into that one, let me go back to emotionlessness. I don't think I really delved into that one. As a man, we are often told that it is by definition in us innately that in order to be a man, you have to be able to basically not be emotional. When bad things happen to you, you should just brush it off. Oops, you should just brush it off. When, you're going through something and you're struggling, how do we often cope with it? It is what it is. We don't allow ourselves to actually process our feelings, understand our emotions, where they come from, what they're trying to tell us. A lot of us have just been told that, as a man, let's be honest, one of the only emotions we're allowed to feel is anger. That's socially acceptable. And maybe a tinge of frustration. Or on the rare occasion, sadness. But, that's only on special occasions, like if your mum dies or something like that. But let's get back to overworking, because this is often a coping mechanism that a lot of us men use. Because this is very acceptable socially for men to overwork, for men to put a lot of our understanding and a lot of our, our belief in ourselves based on our work, based on productivity. And as someone who, in my own personal life, has been a victim to overworking on many occasions, I can tell you that it's almost celebrated. A lot of people around you will celebrate you if you're overworking. If they can see you're sacrificing sleep to work on your side business or to do overtime, weirdly, people will kind of congratulate you for that. Like, wow, well done, you're such a man, you're a real soldier. When really, this is just damaging us. So what's the last piece of the pie that we get access to as men? Of course, it's the Holy Trinity. Isolation. Yep. Isolation. I'm sure you can relate to this. I feel like a lot of us as men, we go through these stages in our lives where we feel like we're supposed to hold the burdens of the world on our own shoulders, and that no one else could possibly understand what we're going through. And that, let's be honest, a lot of us think that no one cares. When we're struggling with whatever it is, whether it's our lives, whether it's our careers, whether it's our finances, a lot of time we have this mentality where, as a man, we don't believe like we have the right, and that's the word, the right to even be around other people, or the right to ask for help, or the right to have access to our emotions. And I feel like isolation is what allows things like overworking and emotionlessness to really expand and become part of our identity. So it's clear that as men, we're taught to be these hard, emotionless, quiet yet in control beings. But it's killing us. Clearly, if you were to tell anyone that a man was feeling emotionless, overworked and isolated, you'd probably say that he needs some help. However, for a lot of us, this is the state that we exist in. Or at least this is the state I existed in for a long time. So let's talk about the consequences of living emotionlessly. Is that a word? Of living without emotion. Let's talk about the consequences of that. So let's be honest, one of the main side effects from living without emotion is apathy. If you don't know what apathy is, this is the feeling that nothing matters, the feeling that your life is meaningless, the goings on in everyone's life and life in general it means nothing. It's pointless. It's all just a waste of time. And this comes from you not being able to access your emotions and you not being able to actually feel how you actually feel, because you push it down, you pack it away in a corner and you believe that is you getting over it. You believe that is you being a man and putting a tough face on. But really all you're doing is pushing the hard work on for your future self. Apathy can also lead into things like suicidal thoughts. So again, something I've experienced. As a young man, I'll be honest, when I was in these stages of isolation, when I was not processing my emotions, just kind of wallowing in self-pity, this was on my mind a lot. It was on my mind a lot. I didn't know if I wanted to be here anymore. I didn't think anything was worthwhile. I thought everything was a waste of time, everything was stupid. And it led to me going down a very dark path where, honestly, I just thank God I made it out, but it was tough, it was dark, and I know a lot of young men right now are in that space. And this is where it starts. It starts in you not allowing yourself to process your emotions. So let's talk about overworking. Where does overworking lead? Well, of course, that leads to burnout. Burnout, again, that's something I've experienced. Putting a lot of time and effort into my studies, into my business, into my career, and feeling like I'm kind of just grinding my gears in the mud and not going anywhere. This led to me trying to overwork, which led to me burning out. And once you burn out and you don't have access to your emotions, that leads you to a feeling of apathy and eventually a feeling of not wanting to be here. These are all linked. And lastly, let's talk about isolation, which is really just the cherry on top of this very dark cake. Isolation, what does this lead to? This leads to addiction. As you know, as I'm sure you are aware, it is very hard to be addicted to something when you have other people around you. It is very hard to carry on an addiction when you're in a community of people. However, when you're by yourself, when you're isolated, especially when you're feeling a bit numb and emotionless, and maybe you're trying to deal with that by overworking, you end up isolating yourself. And this leads to you trying to find ways to deal with your lack of emotional feeling. And this can lead to things like eating disorders. So addiction to eating fast food to feel alive, to feel dopamine. This can lead to addictions like gaming addiction, something I've experienced, which is basically an attempt to escape your reality by using an addiction to escape your isolation. This can obviously also lead to things like drug addiction. Everyone's off the Tsar nowadays because they're isolated and they're feeling unattached to their emotions, so they get addicted. You see, all these things link up. And what does it create? It creates men that don't live very good lives. So now that we've really gone into depth about how, the lack of access to this half of masculinity is really causing us as men to isolate, overwork, feel emotionless, have apathy towards the world, burn out, and generate addictions. Let's talk about what's on the other side of this beautiful man egg. Give me a sec, let me clean up a bit. This has been quite fun. Not sure if I'll leave this bit in, but yeah, this is my first video like this. It's been pretty cool. Don't know why I'm blowing on it. Pause. Shorty wanna take me away. Shorty wanna take me away. Alright, so let's talk about what's on the other side of these eggs or this pie chart. So, isolation. What's a part of masculinity that we are now losing nowadays? That's the opposite of isolation. 10 points if you said community. That is right. That ancient word that seems to barely exist anymore, community. Because the truth is, we need strength to be combined with an element of softness. So if this side is what society calls as strength, it needs to be balanced with this side, which is going to be softness, kindness, care. And a major part of care is community. As humans, we are communal creatures. Although society now has told us that we are all individuals who are just out here to make as much money as we can before we die, I don't think that's the way that we should live as men. It's not fulfilling. It kind of causes you just to be in this rat race where you're just chasing gratification. Community is something that I find to be so fulfilling. And in a sense, for a lot of men, it gives us meaning. It gives us meaning to feel like we're actually engaged in other people's lives and we're making a real change to the world, as cheesy as that might sound. As a man, if you live in isolation and you don't have access to your emotions, you might believe that things like community are stupid. You might honestly think that being involved in a community is cringe even. But I'm telling you, this comes from your brainwashing, where you've been taught that relying on other people is weakness, when really it is strength. In order to understand your place in society, you need to be involved in society. And that means trying to find a community, whether that's an online community, like this channel right here. I do think of you guys as some sort of community. Or in-person community, whether that's going to a church, joining a local club, joining a local gym and actually talking to people there. Community is very important for us men to really, improve and find fulfillment in life. Okay, next. So if you have emotionlessness here, 10 points if you can guess what the opposite would be. 10 points if you said emotional fluency. You might not be able to read what it is because my handwriting's a bit shoddy, but that says emotional, or it says that says emotion fluency, but I mean emotional fluency. What is emotional fluency? Emotional fluency is the ability to not categorize emotions as good or bad, or masculine or feminine, or strong or weak. It's all about understanding that as a human, you should have access to the full range of emotions that we are able to, go through as humans. And never subscribe to the idea that as a man, you can't feel a certain way. Or as a man, it's wrong for you to feel a certain way. Especially if it comes to these kind of more softer feelings like love, empathy, understanding. These are not feminine emotions. These are emotions that everyone is able to feel. However, you have been brainwashed into believing that it is feminine to care about people. Do you know how stupid that sounds? Like, say it out loud. It's feminine to care about people. It sounds stupid. Or it's feminine to love. It's feminine to care for the people in your life. It's not. It really is not. And I want you to really understand that emotional fluency is what saves you from living a emotionless life. You need to be able to not resist when you feel these, traditionally feminine emotions, like fear even. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be a bit anxious. That doesn't mean you're less of a man. What makes you less of a man is when you're not able to face your emotions and you have to hide behind aggression, or you have to hide behind work, or you have to hide behind, this fake apathy. A real man is able to understand that he is able to process and really have access to a full range of emotions like every human should. And lastly, overworking. You've got overworking here. Let's see what the opposite will be on this side. We've got community, emotional fluency, and lastly, I'm gonna go with expression. Expression. Apologize for the handwriting again. My bad. I'll get better, I promise. I promise. Expression, again, guys, be honest with yourself. How many times have you stopped yourself from acting or reacting in a certain way because you don't want other people to judge you? How many times have you purposely worn a more boring or basic outfit simply because you don't want to stand out and have people question you? How many times have you tried to put yourself in a box because you knew that if you didn't, people were gonna maybe bring your insecurities to attention? This is because as a man, we are taught to fear expression. We are taught that as men, sorry, need a sip of water. We are taught that as men, showing expression, showing individuality is weakness. Because as men, we're supposed to fall in line. We're the ones that are supposed to be enforcing the rules that they send down to us from above. But that is some bullshit. I want you to know that having access to your emotions, emotional fluency, is directly linked to your ability to be expressive. Have you ever been in a relationship with a girl or with someone in general, and she's she wants to have those conversations with you. She wants you to be more vulnerable, but you physically don't know how to. She asks you, how are you doing? How's your day been? And you're just it was all right. It was okay, I'm all right. How you doing? Speak to me. Well, I'm okay. That's because you lack emotional fluency and therefore you're unable to be expressive. This is something I experienced for a long time in my relationship. I'm in a 10-year relationship, so I've been through a lot of the ups and downs of understanding yourself as a man. And what I definitely want to emphasize is that it is not weak to be vulnerable, especially with your woman. A lot of guys out there will tell you the opposite. They say, never be your real self around your woman. Never let down your guard. Never let down your mask. That is bullshit. If you want to have a real intimate relationship with a woman that is authentic, she needs to know that her emotions are safe with you because you are able to access those emotions and you're also able to express them. So there we go. Overall, what I want to leave you with this is this. As a man, you are more than your ability to isolate and figure it out by yourself. You don't have to. It's just fine for you to rely on your community. And if you don't have a community, it is not weak to say, I'm a bit lonely. I need more people in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Secondly, overworking, trying to be super productive, it can't save you. It can't save you from a life that doesn't feel authentic, that doesn't feel fulfilling, that doesn't feel exciting or doesn't feel alive. It won't save you. And again, being a emotionless, stoic, logical guy doesn't make you better than someone else. It doesn't make you better than people that have access to emotional fluency. It's all about being able to balance the two. So being able to be comfortable by yourself, but also understand the benefits and what community brings out of you. It's about understanding that it's good to be productive, but it's also good to be expressive and express yourself, and sometimes be let me put down the book, let me put down the laptop, let me actually live right now. This is my one life, let me enjoy it. And lastly, it's important to have access to your emotions and be able to, compartmentalize them when you need to, especially when you have to focus on something. That's important, but having fluency is even more important, being able to dip into those emotions, being able to actually access them when you need them and use them to power you and to, allow you to live a life that you actually want to live, because no one that is emotionless has access to any of these things. And these things, community, expressiveness, emotional fluency, this allows you to live the life you want. This allows you to attract a partner. This allows you to have relationships. This allows you to be the person you want to be. I don't even know what I was about to draw there. Now it just looks like a balloon, but that's cool as well. Overall, one last thing, let me just to solidify it and make the video go full circle, let's turn that frown upside down. That's supposed to be a smile. He just looks like he's a bit inbred, but hey. So yeah, guys, let me know if you liked the video. Let me know if you like this type of content. I'll do some more. I did enjoy this, and yeah, have access to your emotions. Don't be scared. Being a man is not just one thing. Define your own masculinity. Yaga.